Great news, everyone. I got to test out the new Fuji XPro2. Thank you, Fujifilm South Africa, for giving me the opportunity to work with this camera. I've been using it for the week now. I've did some own personal street work as well as a wedding last night, and today I did a portrait session, multiple setups using the camera. I'm very impressed, in short. There's a lot of improvements, not just from the XPro1, but also on the XT1 that I'm excited about, and it's really exciting to see where Fuji's going and their plans for the future as well, because it does give us also a glimpse of what possibly the XT2 will also be. On the camera itself, the things that really stood out, I obviously don't want to get too technical, you can go on their website and you can look at all the specs, but the things that really stood out to me off the bat was the speed of the camera, the focusing speed of the camera, the tracking speed of the camera, subjects moving towards you, the scrolling through the menu, going through the autofocus system. It really was nippy fast. So obviously it's the processor they've got in here. It's really taken the camera from, in certain situations, being quite slow and unreliable to be far more reliable. So I think a lot of people will be quite excited about that. And I'm quite surprised in other reviews that they haven't mentioned that improvement, because I think that's the most significant improvement. Besides the fact that it's got a 24 megapixel sensor now and generally just better quality overall. Also, what is very interesting, and what I found when I was shooting the wedding with the camera, is that because it's got two card slots, I opted to shoot RAW one card and JPEG the other. Is now, especially when you're using full RAW, not the compressed RAW or the lossless compressed RAW, it's quite a large image. Considering it's a 24 megapixel image, it's very large. And if you combine that with the even larger JPEGs, because they've even got a less compressed JPEG, I believe, the two running together, your card count is quite high. I mean, I would normally shoot maybe 8 cards at a function. I was maybe needing another 3 or 4. So just bear that in mind as well. You're going to have to increase your storage, your memory. Interesting new additions to the camera are your increased sync speed, which might not seem a lot to a lot of people, from 1/80th to 2/50th, from the XT1 to the XPro2, but it is a lot. It does add power to your flash, and it just allows you a little bit more leeway. So if you're shooting portraits at 1/25th, it allows you to push it by one stop and pull it by one stop, meaning you can drop your ambient light up and down without having to adjust your flashes, which does save time. So I enjoyed that. I quite like the new ISO dial hidden into the shutter speed dial. I don't use it that much because I shoot a lot of auto ISO when I'm doing street, and then I'm often at the lowest ISO when I'm shooting weddings. So I think once you spend time with it, it'll become second nature. It's just from going from the XT1 to this, you get a bit of a learning curve there. Interesting things as well, I never really got to use it, to be perfectly honest, but to be able to extend your exposure compensation by 2 more stops in the custom section, in the custom mode, it's pretty handy. I use it once, I think. But it is nice to know that you don't have to go into full manual if you want to push your exposure by more than 3 stops on the dial. The viewfinder, smaller than the XT1, but I didn't really notice it. I don't know why. I sensed that it was smaller, but it's the responsiveness and the refresh rate on the EVF that really stood out to me. It was really, really responsive. So not only are you shooting quicker and focusing quicker for the lag time, just the way the EVF is responding to movement when you sort of panning and looking around for your shot, the whole experience is a lot more smooth, a lot more fluid, and definitely far more enjoyable. So I really think Fuji's done an amazing job on that. I was initially with XPro1 before I went to XT1. I kind of got pulled into it by looks a little bit, but as a professional camera for me personally, never really lived up to the task. It really battled in certain crucial elements that I need for my work. So the XT1 coming through, especially with the new firmware updates, really improved it overall and made it more of a professional camera for my line of work. But it's quite exciting because I thought I'd never need the rangefinder again, the system where you got the optical viewfinder and the EVF. But actually, it's ended up being quite a blessing, especially when I'm doing portraits, backlit stuff. I don't have to use the natural live view anymore. I can just quickly flip to see what the optical looks like, to see expressions on faces and things like that, just to guarantee. But I know my framing's all right. Which I remember the XPro1, sometimes in certain situations, distances from your subject, that varied. And that's a definite improvement. Brightness of the lines is great. And the extra little functions now, obviously you can bring in a digital EV sort of small screen inside your optical viewfinder. So the little thing, not that I use that, I found that wasn't really necessary in what I shoot. Cool function buttons, just like the XT1. You can program the camera. It's very customizable. It's got quite a few extra menus. It's got a My settings where you can choose parts of the menu and put them into one section of your menu so you can just access the things that you use all the time, which is handy. But I found the one weak point, I must admit, is that some of the things I like to access a lot, you couldn't add them to that part of the menu, the My Settings, because for some reason it was blocked off, which is grayed out. It wouldn't allow you to move it, and I would have liked that. It's an impressive camera. It's improved in a lot of aspects, and a lot of people look at the specs off the paper and think, waited 5 years for this. It's not that much better. They expect it to be, so much better. But I think Fuji have done the right thing. They've kept true to themselves. They're offering the type of camera that their loyal fans and customers will enjoy. And I think combined with their lenses, and I always say this, Fuji lenses are simply incredible. You're really building your system around the lenses. Many such other systems out there, you're having to try and find your lenses to suit your body. And I just think they really are top of the game when it comes to lenses. So just early review, guys. You're going to see a video that I'm going to be putting out now on portrait sessions that I've done with this camera, and you'll be able to see results, even though they're only JPEG because Lightroom hasn't released the software yet to run the RAWs. But it'll give you a good idea. And I just like to say, so far I'm impressed. A couple of little things that are quirky you have to get used to. It's definitely a bit of a learning curve from the XT1. So if you never did the XPro one before, you're coming from XT1 there's some things you're going to have to learn and get used to. But overall, very impressed and looking forward to showing you the videos of the shoot that I did. Thank you, everyone.